Rejoice in the Lord always. I say it again, rejoice. That one is, of course, not coming from me. It is coming from St. Paul. And that is today's Sunday, Gaudete Sunday. Gaudete is rejoice. Comes from that quote at the beginning of the Mass. If the entrance hymn is not sung, the priest should recite the antiphon. And that antiphon is, rejoice in the Lord always. And the theme for today's Mass departs from the Advent theme of penance in preparation for the coming of Christmas. And that departure is one wherein we are filled with hope and expectation, and for that matter, joy. That is why Father wears pink. I remember an old French song popularized by Edith Piaf. Of course, it's been translated into English and other languages. La vie en rose. Life in rose-colored glasses. Or so to speak, life as happy. Life as a cause for rejoicing itself. Of course, that song was written after the Second World War. And embedded in the lyrics of the song has something to do with the rejoicing that we need to feel. Or in other words, the most important thing in life is to be happy, especially when one is in love. So when you're in love, you're happy, you're satisfied. And of course, not only something about rejoicing because one is in love, but because war is over. When we look around in our midst, of course, we still have wars. Even in nearby Cambodia and Thailand, there is war. Even in Ivy League campuses in the United States, there is terrorism. And yet, for us, the proclamation of this Sunday is, it is only the coming of the Lord that will allow us to really rejoice. Because if we look at the world around us, there's not so much cause for rejoicing. Why is it that way? It is also because of the proclamation of Jesus. In the gospel today, here in the gospel, Jesus is offering John, who is in prison. John the Baptist is in prison. And the very discourse that we have read today is like an offering to John, an offering of hope. Jesus telling his cousin John to rejoice. And Jesus gives 6 proofs. 6 proofs why John should rejoice. What are these 6 proofs? We also have them in the first reading. In other words, the prophet Isaiah has already said it. Jesus is saying it again. That's what we read in the gospel today. Proofs why we should rejoice. What are these 6? The blind regain their sight. The lame walk. Lepers are cleansed. The deaf hear. The dead are raised. And the poor have the good news proclaimed to them. That's 6. You want something more? There's another one actually, a 7th one. It's quite hidden. Blessed is the one who takes no offense at me. It's kind of like addressed to John the Baptist himself. Why? Because it is in the preaching of John that the Lord came to be known. People were following John. John was very popular. Rich and poor alike As we have heard in the gospel last Sunday, even the Pharisees and the Sadducees were coming to John. He was very popular. But at the same time, we know that John was only introducing somebody else. John was only preparing the way because the Messiah is near. And now, here comes the Messiah. Here comes Jesus. John was put into doubt. Is this the one? People were expecting, oh, it's a powerful ruler that we're gonna have. Maybe a powerful president. Somebody who can solve the problems of the nation. That's what we need. Maybe a powerful head of the United Nations, so that people won't just go to war when they like. That's what we need. And here comes Jesus, preaching peace, preaching reconciliation. Are you the one? Or should we look for another? The gospel today, my brothers and sisters, addresses the doubt and the question of John. It's like Jesus telling me, cousin, don't be offended. It is I. What are the proofs? Sometimes we need proofs not just like what we read in the gospel today. Sometimes we need proofs that really happen to us. But don't these 6 really happen to us? It does. Sometimes we don't see. We are blind. We don't see reasons. Haven't you articulated at some point, I don't see the point. I don't see the point of my wife. I don't see the point of my husband. See? You don't see. You're blind. Sometimes we're looking for reasons, and those reasons we can't comprehend. That's blindness. That's actually worse than physical blindness, because that is intellectual blindness. Worse is spiritual blindness. Sometimes we are also lame. Lame. We stumble. We fall. Oh, maybe Father is talking about sins. Yeah, sins. But sometimes we stumble. Even entering the church, sometimes you stumble. To stand is the most difficult thing to do, come to think of it. If you look at the evolution of Homo sapiens, from quadrupedalism to bipedalism, bipedalism is the most difficult thing to do. That is why ballet is a beautiful dance. How can these dancers balance themselves tiptoeing? But you see, they're just few ballet dancers. We are not. Maybe some. In one interreligious forum in the Philippines, we young priests were in Zamboanga City with Muslim brothers and sisters. We were taught how to pray the Muslim way. I suffered a lot with a painful ankle. Imagine having to, from standing to dropping down, and the dropping has something to do with it. It's something to do with the feet. I think since childhood you should practice it. Otherwise, if you're an adult and you try it, you might suffer sprain, like I did. Can't I just pray the rosary? They were laughing at me. It's difficult. We stumble. We are lame. We are blind. Sometimes we are also unclean, even in the skin. So we take care a lot. We clean a lot so that we don't smell. We don't smell like rotting flesh. So you have all those deodorants and all those skin lighteners and all those magical secrets to lighten. Why? Because we don't like to have bad skin. But more than just physical cleanliness, we know that sometimes we too are unclean, dead. When people experience depression, they say, I'm dead inside. I'm dead inside. That's why people who are on the brink of contemplating suicide say, and that's a red flag when they start saying that, I'm dead inside. Better I'm dead physically, because it's worse to feel dead inside. It happens to us. We can be blind, we can be lame, we can be unclean, we can be deaf, we can be dead. We can be poor. You know that. Even sometimes at RM, people beg for transportation to go back to their region. You have seen pictures of Sumatra. We have flashed some pictures of the flood. Houses, beautiful houses crumbling down. What's that? We are poor. So it's not too difficult, my brothers and sisters, to understand what blindness means, even if we are not physically blind. What being lame means, what being a leper means, what being dead means, what being poor means. Jesus proclaims in today's gospel, you can see, you can hear, you are raised, you are made clean. In these experiences are the signs of the Messiah. Perhaps you have experienced being like dead before, dead inside, but now you are here. Some people have made it a point to dedicate Sundays for the Lord, to come to church on Sundays, because they have to thank the Lord. They know. Maybe they were blind and now they see. Maybe they were lame and now they walk. Sometimes it's very literal, like in Lourdes. One shrine that we have imitates Lourdes. People leaving their wheelchairs on the shrine because they can now walk. People leaving their crutches on the shrine because they can now walk. People even donating because they feel the life that they live, even if it's a happy life, even if it's a wealthy life, it's still a meaningless life. Because only the life of Jesus, the meaning that Jesus gives to these experiences, once we find that meaning, it is worth more than everything. Let's go to the second part of the gospel. Jesus does not only give signs or proofs. He also asks us, as he asked the people, the fans of John the Baptist. He asked the fans. It's like Jesus has not so much fans. He only has 12, and he selected them. You will be my fan, you will be my fan, 12 of them. We call them apostles. So they are kind of chosen, so you will be my fan, okay? But for John the Baptist, no. The people really came. They were fans. So Jesus was asking the fans of John the Baptist not to win them over, but to preach to the fans, not his fans. To preach to the fans of John the Baptist, he asked them questions. Also 6. 6. That's the second part of the gospel today. What did you go out to see? Fans club of John the Baptist. What did you go out to see? And Jesus placed the answer in his questions. Jesus is very intelligent, you know. He already answered his questions, but he kept them. A reed swaying in the wind, that's an answer. But it's also a question. What is it? Let's answer it. It's Jesus saying, are you looking for the weakness of my words? Sometimes when we listen to speakers, especially for many of us who are educated in the universities, we tend to look for the faults in that speaker. The faults of the speaker. Oh, the speaker is speaking too long. Oh, that speaker has no joke. Oh, that speaker is repeating his words again. I know that. Sudah. That's what it means. Jesus was like asking the fans, what are you thinking? Are you looking for errors about what I'm saying? That's one. Or do you think what I'm saying is superfluous? Like someone dressed in fine clothing. Oh, that father, he's only trying to impress us. Kind of, don't impress me, I know that already. Or don't go round and round and round with examples and jokes and metaphors, etc. Just go straight to the point. That's what Jesus is saying. What have you go out to see? It's like Jesus throwing back an invitation to the fans of John, not his fans, to go back to themselves. Why did you go out? Are you just curious? If you're just curious, then you might as well be kind of look more into the deeper motivations that you have. Otherwise, you're a fan today, you're no fan tomorrow. To see a prophet, that's the more serious thing. Do you want to change your life, really? Did you come here to change your life? No answer. We call that a rhetorical question. Answer it yourselves. My brothers and sisters, look how beautiful the gospel is today. And so difficult as well. I remember reading in 1989, 1990, fresh from my philosophy years, a novel by a Czechoslovakian author. That time it was still Czechoslovakia, reeling from a communist regime. The title, it's a very popular novel, but also very difficult. The title of the novel is The Unbearable Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera. He says, life is unbearable. When you have problems in life, when you have trials in life, difficulties, it makes you heavy, right? Makes you feel heavy. So it's unbearable. If you think of the gospel, eternal life, the teachings of Jesus, oh, they're too heavy for me also. Imagine eternity. It's also unbearable. At least for the author, Milan Kundera. So what do we have in life? Like the song of Edith Piaf only. When you fall in love, you feel light. But you know, you don't feel like you're falling in love every day. So in other words, he concludes by saying that happiness in life is only momentary. Enjoy it while it's available, and then it's gone. How unbearable life is. He is a pessimist. So we're back to square one. How do we conclude? If we, like John the Baptist, are in prison, if we, like the church being addressed by St. Paul in the second reading, are suffering and are tested, what is the message of Jesus? There is reason for rejoicing. Rejoice. Why? You're given six proofs. Brothers and sisters, as we meditate on the readings today and as we encounter the Lord in the Eucharist on Gaudete Sunday, let us ask ourselves the same questions that Jesus asked the fans of John. We are fans of Jesus. Maybe you say, more than fans. Of course. Thank you very much. You are not just a fan of Jesus. You are a Christian. You are configured into Christ, not just physically, but in your soul. Your soul, if we look at your soul right now, we can find Jesus Christ there. So go, ask yourselves. Let me include myself. Let us ask ourselves. On this Gaudete Sunday, brothers and sisters, what did you go out to see? Why are you here? To see a reed swayed by the wind? To see someone dressed in pink? Then why did you go out? To see a prophet? Those are rhetorical questions. They don't have answers. We are to answer it ourselves.